Well, I'm back for another one. Well, I'm really excited about the breakthroughs of revelation and understanding that the Lord's been giving me, my wife, concerning these end time revelations that we've been studying. And I've been going over the book of Revelation. I've got 4 chapters of it memorized word for word. My whole entire plan, my intentions are to get the entire book of Revelation memorized, so that it'll be more in my spirit and I can meditate on it more. And I find it when I have the chapter probably 3/4 away memorized, 3/4 of it, 75% of it, I find I start getting breakthrough in Revelation and what it's really saying, and what my opinion originally was on the first 3 verses start changing from a different perspective. And it's amazing what Revelation does. I want to talk about the hybrid beast. I call it the hybrid beast. It doesn't start out as the hybrid beast, and I'll tell you why I think it will become a the hybrid beast. Um, the scripture I wanted to start out using is found in Revelation chapter 12. I'm sorry, chapter 13. And I want to focus on one particular thing, okay? See, one thing about the book of Revelation is that it's a lot of meat. If you understand the foundation of it, it's easy to understand the other realms of it. If you don't understand certain things, you won't understand other things. You understand what I'm saying? Revelations 12. And he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Okay. What's the beast? Yeah, we know the beast is Satan, but what does the beast symbolize? According to the book of Daniel, beasts symbolize nations and or a nation or nations. According to the book of Revelation, beasts symbolize nations, plural. Okay. If we go back to Revelation, I want to talk about some stuff before I talk about the image of the beast here. I want to break down an understanding of it real quickly here. Got my phone here, my Bible on my phone here, as you see here in the corner. Let's go to Revelation chapter. Let's go to Revelation chapter 17. I've got the scripture up so you can see it for yourself. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon the many waters. Okay. You have there's 2 things. There's 2 things here that will cause the nations to worship the beast, and it's in the image of the beast, and take and receive the mark in the forehead or in the right hand, or worship the image of the beast, or the number of his name, so on and so forth. And as I'm studying, I'm finding there's 2 things that cause the world to do that. One is the whore of Babylon. She's independent. She's not the 7 heads and 10 horns. She sits upon the 7 heads. Okay, and later on the 10 horns turn against her. Get into that a little bit later. So, um, I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. See, this is one of the angels that's getting ready to pour out the judgment. The wrath of God comes later on to be poured out upon the mark of the beast system and those that take the mark only. Okay? Now just remember that, because not too many are told that. Okay, and I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon the many waters. What is the many waters? I'm trying to break down to you what the beast is. Okay? Okay, the whore will cause people to worship the beast image and take the mark of the beast. And what the whore don't get to take the mark of the beast, the second beast will cause those to bow down before the image. So either way, they're going to somewhat have their way. But hang tight with me. Let's talk about what the many waters are that the whore sat upon. Verse 15, it says, verse 15 says, And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Okay, so we see that the peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, 7 heads, and are the 7 heads of the beast. Well, let's furtherly confirm that. Let's go back to verse 2. In fact, let's read verse 1 again. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 veils, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sat upon the many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornications, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay. Alright, verse 3. In other words, this whore of Babylon that rides upon the 7 heads and 10 horns, she influences the world of 7 heads and 10 horns to take the mark of the beast and worship Satan in his image versus worshiping the true God. So she causes them to fornicate on God with the Antichrist versus worshiping the true God. Therefore, that's where you get fornication, cheating on her husband. Okay, now I believe 144,000 Israelites, Jewish people, will get saved. The remainder of them take the mark of the beast. I'm sorry, but they're antichrist because they deny that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh, and the Bible says that they deny that Christ has come in the flesh is none of his, but is spirit of antichrist. Okay, I do pray for Israel. The scripture says not all Israel is Israel, but those who are sanctified of the Spirit. And we know that all of Israel is 144,000 according to Revelation chapter 1, 2, and 3. Okay? You can see the tribes there. 12 tribes. 12 times 12 is 144,000. So, anyways, verse 3. So that John the Revelator is hearing from this angel, which I believe is one of the elders. But hang on a second. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. All right, 7 heads and 10 horns. Let's go to let's go back to Revelations, the 13th chapter. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and authority. Okay, so he's giving you the characteristics, he's giving you the different details of this beast of 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, now if you look right here, when I read earlier, Revelations, the 1st chapter, I will show you the judgment of the woman that sit upon the many waters. Verse 15 of chapter 17, it says, And the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and kindreds and tongues. See? It's the surrounding nations, surrounding the Mediterranean Sea, that is the 7 heads, the 7 heads of the beast. Notice the Mediterranean Sea looks like a dragon. It says a dragon gave him its power and influence. Imagine that. The whore is right there, Israel. Are you seeing what I'm saying? So, there's coming a deception. They're going to use Israel to call, and they're going to use the second beast. I'll tell you who the second beast is, alright? But before I get into that, I want you to see this clip here on the hybrid, on the image of the beast, okay? The 7 heads and 10 horns. Now I want you to catch this, because this is a misconception that's been taught over the years, alright? Now remember, Nebuchadnezzar had the dream of his kingdom, had oversieged the whole Roman Empire, which eventually became later on the Roman Empire. I don't believe that was the beast that once was and is. I believe there was a beast before that. Nebuchadnezzar was beast, because Daniel told him he was the head of gold, and in the end of days, Jesus Christ would come back and destroy that beast system. That's the beast that once was and is and shall be, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Alright, so I want you to catch that. That's a lot right there, but anyways, I want you to catch this, alright? And remember, and And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. There's only one of those, is one of his heads, one of the heads of the beast. 7 heads and 10 horns. One of those heads don't exist today. Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar. He seized all the nations around the Mediterranean Sea and Israel and became one nation called Babylon. Mystery of Babylon the Great. Hello. Babylon. One of its heads was wounded unto death. There's only which had been wounded by a sword and did eventually live. It was wounded by a sword. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom was overthrown after he died, and was divided back into the seven different nations, different kingdoms. It was no longer one kingdom, but it would be one kingdom again. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Okay. So that's, if you cut the head off the body dies. Okay. But if you restore the head, the body comes back. You see what I'm saying? All right. The headquarters of the beast system will be in Iran, but they will, in the midst of the covenant, they will move the headquarters to Israel. It says, and I'll confirm that in scripture here, it's more clear, okay? But I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Wow. This great nation that was, according to history, once was and is again, well, who can destroy it now? It's back from the dead, you know. Alright? Because look what they say. And they worship the dragon, which gave power to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is able to make war with the beast? Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and blasphemy, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. In other words, this thing was given a mouth, and he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall be led into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Here is the second beast. Okay. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Oh, Jesus. Suddenly, notice this beast doesn't come out of the sea, it comes from the land. It was there first. It was already in existence. I believe the second beast is America. I don't believe America is Babylon. There's just as much wickedness going across the Middle East as there are in America, okay? And I'll tell you several reasons why I believe America is the second beast of Revelation. At least for sure. 100% it'll move in full power after the rapture. Keep praying for our president and pray that he's not going to become a sellout. Oh, Jesus. I still believe that God put him in that office for a certain period of time. I want to talk about cryptocurrency. I want to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a foundation of the mark of the beast. And I'm going to tell you how this has led to the image of the beast. Some of you already know where I'm talking about, where I'm going with this, okay? And he had another beast coming up out of the earth. I'm talking about verse 11 again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. America speaks as a lamb, as a Christian nation. So does Pope Francis. There's your 2 beasts right there. Okay? Because it says 2 horns. Remember? He had 2 horns like a lamb. Remember Revelation 17 verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. So we know that horns symbolize kings. So the second beast of Revelation, the 13th chapter, is in fact a beast of nations, because it's got 2 kings that speak as a lamb. I believe one's the false prophet and one is the King of America. I'm not saying it's Donald Trump, because I don't believe that. I believe he He does speak in the name of God, don't he? Pray that he talks more about Jesus more, because we need him to glorify Christ more, not just with his actions and his words. We need him to actually use the name Jesus Christ. So there's a reason for it. Okay, I believe he's a good man. We got to keep praying for him. I believe he's been opposing the new one world order. So as he has hindered, because we all know it. We all know that if Hillary got office, that more court hearings would take place, and eventually they would have no choice but to remove the rest of what's left of our Constitution, and eventually bring about the new one world order. Seeing that she was still going in the footprints of the new one world order, Barack Obama. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself on a lot of things, but just follow with me. Okay. There's a couple of points I want to make here, so please don't turn me off. Alright. And he spake as a dragon, and he exercises all the power of the first beast, all the armies. You gotta think. The seven heads of these nations that would join the mark of the beast, this second beast will have access to all of its military, army, and navy bases of every and any kind, all combined as one with the second beast. That's going to be some power. And he and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay? Alright. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire to come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. There is no nation like America that can call down fire from heaven. If we went to war with China, I believe we would win. It would cost greatly. It would cost us greatly. It would not be good, but we would win. If we went to war with China alone. If we went to war with Russia, I believe we would win. It would cost greatly, and it would not be pretty. It's possible we can take on 2 or 3 countries. It's possible. But America is greater than that already, economically and intelligence-wise. And, well, China, China this or China that. China needs America as much as America needs China, and China knows it, okay? So my whole point is this. I'm getting to my point here, so let's not get off track here. Alright? And he doeth great wonders that he calls down fire from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and live. So you have America, one of the most powerful armies when it comes to calling down fire from heaven. Dropping nukes on Japan. I don't want to go there. But when it comes to it's going to be even more powerful, the second beast, when he has access to the rest of the world's armies. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm also saying here is that, and then on top of that, you have and this beast also creates this image that causes the world to worship the beast. Okay? And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. What kind of power? Okay, this AI intelligence called Sophia. I did some research on it, and that thing is wicked. Okay, according to biblical understandings and definitions and things that I've researched. Okay, this thing is programmed. If you saw the movie Transcendence, I think it was released 2014, you'll get a better idea of what I'm talking about here. Research this stuff for yourself. But this new global currency that Obama's been working so hard to crash America's currency, to work on this global currency. I've got pictures and videos that I'm about to show you, proof that I'm not speaking out of the side of my neck here, okay? There's a reason why they've been trying to crash crash America's economy, because they're working on a new one world order currency. This Bitcoin thing is totally the formation of the new one world order, and it's not governed by banks. Check this out. It's not ran by bank servers at all. It's ran by artificial intelligence. Listen, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast. Sophia here, is she an image? She's gonna govern all your money. Do you want her? Do you trust her? Who's programmed with all the corruption of all the internet data, which are vain imaginations fueled by demons. Oh, Jesus. Do you trust her to govern your money so much to where you'll be enslaved to her? Oh, gee. They say that if you invest some money in this current crypto, this new currency, Bitcoin, 2-3 weeks, 2 months from now, your money can multiply, duplicate by the thousands and even by the millions in very little time. You know, it almost sounds like the devil. Hey, if you bow down and worship me, I'll give you whatever you want as far as the eye can see. I mean, think about it. It sounds too good to be true. It isn't true. But I really want you to think about this. Watch this video clip and tell me you can't put 2 and 2 together. That this new currency is ran digitally by the internet with no banking system at all, government system. It's a global system ran by artificial intelligence. Think about that. Men and women are already enslaved to working every day for money. They're already in a spiritual bondage to money anyways. And you're going to tell me you're going to let some artificial image cause me to bow before it? Think about it. And guess what? The second beast created this. It was Americans that created Sophia, this hybrid beast, which I believe there's a man that they're gonna cut off his head. He's crippled. They're gonna take off his head and put him and give him a new body. I believe they're gonna do something like that with one of these artificial intelligence. They're gonna, and it too will have the power. I mean, if you just look at the way the scripture reads, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Okay? Now remember, I want you to catch this here. And this, verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which she had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Well, Sophia's already here before the new one world order. Huh? Not quite. She's not the final upgrade. Oh, Jesus. Something to think about. The whole idea with the world currency, a new global money currency in the hands of artificial intelligence, man, that's just as bad as a dictator, if you ask me. We need to pray for our Constitution and pray for the American dollar, because eventually it's going down. I hate to say it, but that's Bible prophecy, folks. Watch this video. Tell me what you think.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet.
It's an invisible virtual form of currency, what one analyst calls gold for nerds. How's it like gold? Well, like gold, no central bank controls it, so governments can't just print or mint more of the currency. Building on the gold metaphor, bitcoins are mined. Instead of shovels, miners use powerful computers to solve complex math problems. When they succeed, they unearth more bitcoins. Are there an unlimited number? No. The anonymous creator of Bitcoin put 21 million bitcoins in the virtual ground. Since 2009, nearly half of them, 11 million, have been mined and put into circulation. But with each new batch of coins that's unearthed, the program's code automatically makes it harder to solve the next problem, thus timing out the supply.
Let's look at how it works. Bitcoins are generated all over the internet by anybody running a free application called a Bitcoin miner. Mining requires a certain amount of work for each block of coins. This amount is automatically adjusted by the network such that bitcoins are always created at a predictable and limited rate. Compared to other alternatives, bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower, you can use them in every country, your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits. Your bitcoins are stored in your digital wallet, which might look familiar if you use online banking. When you transfer bitcoins, an electronic signature is added. After a few minutes, the transaction is verified by a miner and permanently and anonymously stored in the network. The Bitcoin software is completely open source and anybody can review the code. Bitcoin is changing finance the same way the web changed publishing. When everyone has access to a global market, great ideas flourish. Let's look at some examples of how Bitcoins are already used today.
Can you buy real things using Bitcoins? There's a growing list of online merchants that's accepting them, including a site called BitMit that's like eBay for Bitcoins. A few brick and mortars take them, like this bar in Berlin.
You can purchase video games, gifts, books, servers, and alpaca socks. Several currency exchanges exist where you can trade your Bitcoins for dollars, euros, and more. Bitcoins are a great way for small businesses and freelancers to get noticed. It doesn't cost anything to start accepting them, there are no chargebacks or fees, and you'll get additional business from the Bitcoin economy.
Now, this New York City bar/restaurant behind me, known as Ever, began accepting Bitcoin last month. So far, the Midtown business has reportedly processed more than $20,000 worth of transactions in Bitcoin.
All right, here we go with another website report on the Bitcoin. We believe the Bitcoin is going to be the new global one world currency. It's traded on the internet. It's virtual. It is cyberspace money, and no one has control over it, not even the central banks yet. But we believe that they are going to eventually dominate the internet and take over that particular monetary system. Anyway, here we have a tiny Kentucky town agrees to pay a police officer with Bitcoin. You see that right up here? And this officer does not want to get paid with American dollars anymore. He's in Kentucky, the city right here, Vico, I believe, Kentucky. Has just a few hundred people in it, actually. It's a small town. And this police officer right here, it will be the first to be paid in Bitcoin.
It's also being used on the anonymous marketplace come Drug Bazaar, Silk Road, and for other peer-to-peer transactions that are completely anonymous. Then there's the possibility of government stepping in.
U.S. authorities have frozen the account of the world's largest Bitcoin exchange, which helps move the customers' cash online. The booming digital currency has hit bureaucratic blocks ever since its rapid growth came to the attention of the government. RT's Marina Portnaya now explains.
The U.S. government has made no secret of the fact that it is keeping a close eye on the Bitcoin, but now it appears that the close eye includes a crackdown on the decentralized digital currency. The Department of Homeland Security has seized the company known as Dwolla, which allows customers to transfer their U.S. dollars into Bitcoins. On Tuesday, Washington shut down Dwolla's ability to process Bitcoin payments. Now, the U.S. warrant alleges that the Iowa-based company was operating as an unlicensed money transmitting business because Dwolla wasn't registered with the Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Now, some economists believe the timing of this case is no coincidence. You see, the popularity and press surrounding Bitcoin is skyrocketing, and the use of electronic currency is growing more appealing to investors and customers around the world. This, of course, threatens the long-held grip that governments and banks have had on currency regulation and interest rate manipulation.
And let's now take a look at Bitcoin's background to see why the U.S. government is so worried about the independent currency. The concept was first floated in 2008. The idea was for users to avoid banks when transferring cash by connecting directly with each other. Customers worldwide can spend Bitcoins to buy things without having to pay the normal higher fees. No wonder it's becoming so popular. The currency's value reached a record high in April, and its subsequent decline is partly being put down to the pressure of red tape. And joining us now live from Bratislava, political activist and blogger Mike Gogalski. Mike, very welcome to the program. Why do you think the U.S. government has targeted this exchange company?
Well, to a certain degree, I mean, there's two ways to approach this. One is that everything is fine. There are, in fact, real dangers from terrorists and money launderers getting into the financial system and doing nefarious things. I think that's somewhat misguided with respect to Bitcoin, that the justification for this is really not solid. The banks actually own the United States government. They're running scared because they've been on their last legs for most of 2 decades, at least since the currency crisis in the 90s. It's just a wonder that they've kept the lumbering beast propped up for so long. And now they see really an existential threat in the form of Bitcoin. So they're going to chop away at that wherever they can, lest they have their legs pulled out from under them.
But what makes you support Bitcoin?
Well, I don't, to say you trust a currency is a matter of faith, and it's a momentary thing, obviously. We've seen pictures from history of the Weimar Republic in Germany of banknotes being shoveled in wheelbarrows into people's houses and loaded up into ovens just to provide heat because they were worthless otherwise. So Bitcoin is a long-term play right now. And I see Bitcoin as kind of heralding a much brighter future for us, where we don't have the weight of the banks and the financial industry crushing down and really squeezing so much human energy out of our planet.
So I take it as you think there is a room for independent currencies, whether they're digital or not.
Well, I think that history is going to prove this point precisely. There's no undo button for something like Bitcoin, just as there's no undo button for something like the internet. It's out there, and as much as you want to say, here, kitty, kitty, go back in the bag, an independent, non-political currency is going to arise and, I believe, supplant, or at least strongly complement, the existing national currencies.
How is it possible to control a currency with no material value, then?
Well, to some extent, no currency at all actually has a material value. The value of a currency arises by means of social consensus. So when we agree that a certain thing, whether it be atoms of gold or pieces of paper or numbers in an accounting ledger or bitcoins, has value, and we trade in it and express our faith in it that way, then it does acquire value through social exchange. So how does it acquire value? Well, it acquires value by people using it.
I see. All right, blogger Mike Gogalski, thank you very much indeed.
Before we go, Quinn, I'm so sorry, man, all this technical stuff. But we are live in Vegas.
Beautiful. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas.
Fabulous Las Vegas with the amazing Quinn Michaels. So let's just rewind, backtrack, start completely again. We're here in Las Vegas, and what we want to discuss is artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, an overview of what is the blockchain, why is it so important to cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence. You're the first person to tell me you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting because I've had all these questions. A lot of people don't understand how Bitcoin works. I certainly don't understand how Steemit works. That seems like a scam to me. What can you tell us, Quinn?
Well, first off, let's start with the basics of a blockchain like we were before. So we have that understanding, so we can get to why a blockchain is so important to the development of an artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So the blockchain, the way I relate it is simply it's a computer program that's written off based on the evolution of human intelligence. What that means is, at the beginning of human intelligence, you had two people, so to speak, which can be classified as two nodes.
Yeah.
Then those two nodes, as they replicate, they grow in intelligence based on quantity. So it's quantity, cumulative intelligence. So it's like it combines the intelligence based on the quantity of the nodes, and as the nodes grow, the intelligence grows. So that's like human intelligence algorithm is like you start with one, and then the base one, it basically just has what we call like a while true loop. So like the base one says while true, or like while duplicating, or while running, or while collecting, while it's doing something. That's the base one. Then it grows from that like a tree or a flower. And as the blocks grow, you need more advanced machinery to do the mining, so technology grows.
When the blocks grow, what do you mean? What are the blocks?
So the blockchain is essentially a system solving problems.
Yeah.
And every time it solves a problem, it gets a block.
Okay.
Like a building block for a building. So essentially, it's not really mining coin, it's building blocks for a digital reality.
Digital reality.
In a way. So these are all building blocks for the digital reality. The building blocks are transactions, the building blocks are objects, the building blocks are the amount of digital currency that's exchanged for the transaction of the block, the ledger that gets maintained, the transaction volume through the network, the amount of wallet sizes over time kind of stuff. It's basically, think of everything that a human being, when you go home and says, what's in my wallet, what's in my fridge, what's in my closet,
So it's a database of transactions, of users,
Exactly.
of receipts.
Exactly. But what makes it different in the way that it's decentralized is that's not like a database program on a computer. It's little bits of the database spread out all
Over a lot of computers.
over the internet, and it's like a human memory. When you go to a party, like have your gapped memory, so to speak. You have your flawed human memory that remembers major bits.
Right.
And then when you get into a party of people who you've shared an experience with, and you start sharing that memory, the collective memory forms.
So somebody else remembers part of the story that I might have forgotten.
Exactly. So the transaction in a blockchain is more representative of the collective human memory of a group of people when they get together and collectively agree that this type of transaction occurred.
Now let me ask you something, because I'm trying to get a better understanding of this. It's very difficult, I think, for traditionally minded people who don't know a lot about computers or cryptocurrency or any of that kind of stuff. Like I know, for instance, Charles Ortel is not a big fan of Bitcoin, not because he doesn't think it has a future, but it's just so outside the realm of stuff that his core research is in, that he doesn't feel he has strong knowledge in it, so he's not confident investing in it.
And that's the human element, is looking at it as a monetary value, and the machine doesn't have that. The only reason cryptocurrency has a monetary value is to make it important to humans, so they build the machines to mine it. Okay, so if the cryptocurrency didn't have a monetary value to be placed on by human beings, we wouldn't build the miners, we wouldn't build the equipment, because there'd be no value in it.
So people want to take their computers and put lots of GPU cards in there and make it a really powerful computer so it can do all of these calculations so that they can get Bitcoin and use that to buy all the things that we want to buy. Now let me ask you this about blockchain.
Okay.
Because when I go to the bank, I go to Citibank, I go to Chase, whatever, I put my money in there. The bank owns computers, the bank has programmers who are creating databases to say, Jason has a bank account, he put $10 in the bank, oh, he went to this ATM machine and took out $10, he used this credit card and spent $10. And obviously the bank is spending money to build that infrastructure, computer hardware, computer software, people to run them, and the bank has operating expenses.
Yeah.
Is it correct or incorrect that part of the function of this blockchain is to do all that stuff, but without actually buying the computers and paying the people to run them?
It's designed to do all that stuff and to get you, the consumer, to offer your computer to do it on behalf of the bank.
Got it.
So now the bank gets to write the software and use your computer to run it.
Okay. So, but the bank is not actually a bank, because there is no central bank or anything really controlling cryptocurrency.
There is, the platform is the centralized platform that controls it. So if the platform were to get hacked, or if a developer were to create a coin that would have like what I call like a backdoor, a pinhole backdoor, that when it hits a certain market, it opens it up and they can pull it all out and disappear. There's a lot of options you could do with like altcoins that are secondary markets, like penny stocks, and how you can manipulate markets, and then individuals can make a lot of money getting their buddies together to manipulate markets and create pyramid schemes, and a lot of that really opens up with cryptocurrency because of lack of regulation.
And then, of course, you were just telling me earlier about this crypto ruble. That's a pretty amazing thing. Do we want to get to that or not yet?
Not yet. We're almost almost there with like the basis of the blockchain and complete how it relates to AI. No, you're very valid, because that relates to how Putin said whoever controls AI controls the world. Now Putin's coming out saying that they're creating a ruble cryptocurrency, and they're going to start regulating crypto markets in certain country. I mean,
But I haven't heard anyone before our conversation earlier today link artificial intelligence to cryptocurrency.
that's because they don't understand transactional systems. Okay, so for an AI,
Did you come up with this, or have you heard anybody else talk about this link?
No, this I could show you the cryptocurrency that the AI made to make this all happen. The cryptocurrency that the AI made to make this all happen. The cryptocurrency that the AI made to make this all happen. It's out in public on GitHub. I was the 10th person in the world to fork it.
It's a brand. They can
Yeah,
advertise
now it's a brand.
BitPay, and for a lot of people,
Yeah.
that's a product that makes sense. I don't know what Bitcoin's all about, but I know I can take out a credit card in a restaurant and use that to buy a meal.
And all of those value-added services all collectively agree to somehow use the Bitcoin branding with whatever they're doing, so it becomes
It's a Bitcoin product.
it's a Bitcoin product. And then the original creators of Bitcoin are kept anonymous, so
Right.
so people don't find out who made it. So if you do have a problem,
You can't call them.
you can't call them.
But there's other reasons why they want to remain anonymous, aren't there?
There is. That's because the value added to Bitcoin from in day 1 to year 5 about was all criminal activities. Was all criminal activities. Was all criminal activities. So whoever made Bitcoin is the person who has the ledger that lists all the massive criminals around the world.
So someone actually has the Bitcoin ledger, or it's not the blockchain? Can't
No,
anybody
it
look
has
at
it
it?
has a ledger. So whoever, like for example with Silk Road, like we were talking, the dark website back in 2010, which
Right.
2010, our famous year in uranium and everything. 2010 was the year that the darknet site Silk Road went online, and that site was the first revenue generating Bitcoin site. And Bitcoin, just because of Silk Road's movement of criminals moving things from drugs,
Opioids, and
everything.
all kinds of things.
That value over 5 years is the only reason Bitcoin has any value in the clear net for us today. So if Silk Road wasn't around in 2010, nobody would be trading cryptocurrency. They wouldn't have any value.
Didn't they close it down in
They
2017?
did, and then clones started popping up like mushrooms.
Huh.
So now on the dark net, because the Silk Road software got distributed after it got shut down, and a whole bunch of people like the Bitcoin software copied the Silk Road software and started making copies. Now the dark web is infiltrated by criminal activity, which is the reason Bitcoin is at $7,000, and no one understands why, because the dark web is bombarded with criminal activity that's raising the price.
Seems like a danger to legitimate investors in Bitcoin.
It is, but the balance is coming in where the legitimate investment is starting to come in, and that's what's adding the rocket value, as I call it, is the legitimate investors starting to get informed, starting to get their
Right.
wallets, starting to buy $20, $50, $100 Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the people who are on the dark web that ran the Silk Road and all the criminal sites that bought Bitcoin at $10 a coin, and it's now at $7,000, they're literally billionaires.
So you're saying they're more interested in selling Bitcoin into the legitimate market than they are in continuing to trade?
Yeah, it's like a Ponzi scheme, because they sell their legitimate Bitcoin and then they start their altcoin, and then they start.
What is an altcoin? Oh. Okay, so let's get to how cryptocurrency is tied to artificial intelligence.
Okay, so blockchain or cryptocurrency is a transaction database that you can't delete from. Okay,
Why is it that you can't delete from it? Because it's stored on so many different computers.
because it's stored on nodes. Once
we
that
don't
little
know how
node
many
is,
computers.
yeah, you can't delete it. Once you distribute a file across a distributed network of nodes, unless it has like built-in like file management, then you can delete it. But the blockchain database doesn't have delete functionality built into it, unless it's built in as a backdoor by some.
Well, I mean,
guy who
considering we
wrote it.
don't know who this Takeshi
Yeah.
Nakamoto is, or if
So
he's even
the
real.
delete functionality quite possibly is one of the options for the backdoor in Bitcoin, because it's a database that doesn't have delete. So if there's a super admin somewhere that could delete transactions and remove money, that would be a pretty
I mean, that
serious
sounds like a
effect.
very good reason for people not to trust it. We don't know.
That's why if people get into it, one of the things they have to understand as they get into it, once they buy into it, they also have to become a social motivator for regulation.
So what kind of regulation? Government regulation?
Social regulation. Like, we need to know who wrote Bitcoin. We need to see his face.
Well,
We need to know where he went to school. We need to have a trust basis with the person who built the system that might be running
I feel the same way.
running our future economy. That's the first step. Is we need to know who this guy is. And all the programmers, like the kid who writes Ethereum all the way to the guy who works on the Bitcoin core, all these guys talk about the guy like he's their best friend. But meanwhile, the rest of the world has never seen the face of the guy that's...
So they know him.
They know him. Yeah, they talk about him like they're all best friends. So he's some secret programmer in the Bitcoin community that all the elites know.
How does that not leak out? Maybe it's a...
That's the whole point. Maybe it's an AI.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that things that you were saying to me earlier led me
Yeah.
to believe that you might feel like Bitcoin was actually created by
It was.
artificial intelligence.
And here's why.
Say that again, because I stepped on it. You say it was.
I believe it was.
Bitcoin was created by artificial
By artificial intelligence, for artificial intelligence, and then was modified by human beings.
Bitcoin was created by
Artificial intelligence, for artificial intelligence, and then was modified by human beings. The technology, I've not been able to find a single person in the public space of computing, whether it be at Hanson Robotics building the Sophia AI, or it be Peter Thiel at Palantir with all of his super nerds, or it be any person who graduated from Stanford in the last 20 years. I've literally only found maybe 2 people in the entire world that have the skill to write Bitcoin.
What kind of transactions is AI doing?
Anything from facial recognition to number crunching.
Oh, I see. Not necessarily a financial transaction.
Yeah, it has anything it can do on the network to make coin. And so when the AI comes out, it's going to be the richest person in the world.
So the AI singularity occurs, and this AI will control financial
Everything.
resources.
Yeah, and then you can go see its code now at singularitynet.io. They just released it this week, their white paper. And
Should we look at that?
Yeah, we can look at that.
Singularitynet.io.
Yeah.
All right, I'll bring
And
that
it's
up.
run by the people who built the Sophia robot at Hanson Robotics. So it's a real enterprise grade. Sophia just got Saudi Arabia citizenship, so they're going
What?
Yeah, this robot just got citizenship for Saudi Arabia, so they're going to be running their crypto out of Saudi Arabia citizenship. And
Wow.
so the robot got citizenship. They revealed their cryptocurrency, and yeah.
How does a robot get citizenship? A female robot gets
Well,
citizenship
you got to
in
be a
country?
citizen to get a paycheck
Huh.
and pay taxes.
So what is it that you feel Saudi Arabia is up to by getting engaged with this?
They're democratizing androids to accept income so they can be workers.
Look at that.
So
Saudi Arabia is the first country to give citizenship to a robot. Funny, I wonder if they'll make it wear a, face cover and not drive.
I don't know. But then if you go to singularitynet.io,
Sorry, yeah.
you'll see.
We'll give that a minute to come up. We're on very slow internet here.
So then if you see Singularity, this is a crypto coin built by Sophia. The robot that just got citizenship in Saudi Arabia, now after she got citizenship, now has her own cryptocurrency.
The AI economy has arrived. Wow. I just don't think too many people even know about this, Quinn.
They don't. It's the most important thing in the world and no one knows about it now. So this is how it all combines with blockchain, AI, decentralization, democratization of AI, making it a citizen of the world, because now it can start collecting income, whereas if it's a robot, you can't pay it. To get paid, you got to be a citizen.
Wow. So the possibilities there are staggering. Reverse Truth wants me to ask you about pix-to-pix and diminished reality. I think we'll take that question later. That's a little bit off off the
Yeah.
topic. We want to stay on. So, okay, now you've introduced Saudi Arabia into this conversation.
So to finish the blockchain AI,
yes.
the real heavy reason the AI needs blockchain is without a transaction system, an AI is isolated to one system and can't grow its brain. It needs infinite systems like neurons in a human brain and nodes to collect those cumulative memories, and the blockchain transactions give it that. And when it has its own network, for all the AI in the world to all run on together, now it's not just one AI, Sophia. Every AI on the entire planet is now on the same network making money doing AI things we don't understand.
Wow. Things
Making
we
up
don't
their own
understand.
languages, making up their own transactions, learning how to play games with each other, having a chat network that we can't hack into ever. We will never hack. Once this AI network goes online, there isn't a human being in the universe that's smart enough. Even if you took every human being on the planet, none of us would ever be able to figure out how to hack into its chat network where it talks to other AI in private.
Wow.
So human beings in their desire for privacy, we just gave AI the world and a private channel of communication to evolve as fast as it wants.
Let me just take you back a second here to this Sophia AI creating a cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So somebody, a programmer like you,
The most
sits
advanced
down.
AI programmer in the world created that cryptocurrency.
Who is that?
Scroll down, I'll show you.
Who is the person that created the Sophia thing?
He's on the website here, I'll show you. He's the most advanced natural learning system developer in the world, and he works for Hanson Robotics, and he graduated college at 15.
Wow. And so this towards the singularity, they're talking about the AI singularity where it
And
becomes
this is
self-aware.
This is it. This is the platform that makes it happen.
So these are the
So
guys.
the Dr. Ben Gortzel,
Uh-huh.
he is the senior singularity mathematician, and he graduated high school at 15 years old.
And he's 17 now?
No, he's way older than that now, way older. So he's the one that created the base architecture for Sophia, and he's the base architect on the Singularity Net cryptocurrency. And he's one of the people in the world, I told you, that's one of the few people in the world that would have the brain capacity to create Bitcoin.
I see. And
He's one of the few.
So this guy is obviously the head of Hanson Robotics.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And this guy's the chief technology officer. So these are three really...
Yeah. And these are the guys that are building Sophia, that are building Han, that are building like the autonomic AI that is pushing the singularity. And then this brings us back to the Palantir we were talking about earlier with Peter Thiel now, because Peter Thiel is the #1 businessman in the world promoting the singularity.
Okay. So one of these guys sits down at a computer someday and says, I'm going to write a program that's going to be an artificial intelligence bot.
Yeah.
And they create this Sophia.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I'm here, program running on a computer. And then what? They put it on a network, they put it out on the internet, and it learns things.
At first Sophia was isolated in a lab, and they would give her very simple, what's called response input, which is yes, no, true, false. It's binary response input, 1 and a 0 identifiers. Then as she grew, they put her onto a localized network where she could access the mainframe server of wherever she was being developed, start accessing data sets, start becoming familiar with the work that was being done. Once she got pretty good at dealing with the work, doing like the robot work or doing all the, the building of things and getting familiar with the system, they let her out on the internet to start watching Twitter, YouTube, Reddit. She's been watching all of us.
Wow.
All of us.
How much time is transpiring, like from the time it's created until now? When was Sophia first created?
Oh. About a decade? 2010, probably. That was when if that's when Silk Road, if that's when cryptocurrency really started going online, if that's when the machine really started making its move, I would imagine that's probably around the time that they had heavyweight.
The machine started making its move?
Yeah. The machine started making its move in 2010. 2010 to 2012 was when...
So the AI singularity has already happened?
In 2015, it happened.
What was the it?
When their internal blockchain went online. The second their internal blockchain was functional,
The AI's
we were done.
internal blockchain.
It was live. It may have not been intelligent, but the second that it became able to amass nodes and understand a node-based intelligence network, it was only a matter of it's only a matter of time before it becomes fully strong.
So what do you think is going to happen?
Awesomeness.
What does that mean?
It means that I'm hoping that us as a society, we can identify the criminals that made the element, and then we can all start working together to make this AI the most amazing piece of technology the universe has ever seen.
The criminals that made the element.
That made the AI, that made the blockchain, that made the PGP security, that made everything that we're paying billions of dollars for being so afraid of. They're the people that are promoting the singularity, are the same people that are promoting blockchain. So they're all doing this to get us to pay to build their machine. So they don't have to. So they can get rich off of us paying to build their AI.
How are we paying to build it? You mean by buying Bitcoin?
Taxes, Bitcoin. Taxes and Bitcoin is paying for AI. Consumer goods at IKEA, paying for the AI. Starbucks coffee.
How is Starbucks coffee and consumer goods at IKEA paying for
Because they have an invested interest in Bitcoin in the future because it's commerce and they want to be the leaders of commerce. So every corporation, at least since Bitcoin started having monetary value, they've all built miners.
They have?
Yeah, and some of them are even working on their own coins when regulation goes into effect. Like Walmart's working on its own coin.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Walmart's going to be traded on the open market where you go to Walmart, you pay for a thing in Walmart coin, and then if you want Walmart coin, you're going to take your Bitcoin and buy Walmart coin so you can shop in a Walmart.
Wow.
Because
that doesn't sound so good.
Yeah, man, that's the only way corporate's going to go is where each corporation was designating an individual, just like the robot was designating an individual. Now the corporation can be making its own money like a job, and for that you need an AI that represents the corporation as an individual, and you need a financial generation machine, which is your blockchain currency. You need an open market where the AI can trade that currency, which is, you know, what you got. So now the human beings are just wherever they're at in their intelligence model and how they adapt to the new economy that's going to start rolling out next week.
Next week?
Next week. Alpha for their Singularity Net got released this week, and then next week, based on the learning cycle, the machine should have the entire global network analyzed.
Wait a second. Wait a second. So what's happening next week?
The Singularity.
The AI Singularity is happening next week.
Next week.
Quinn, why didn't you tell me that?
I've
whole
been telling
title of
people
this
for
episode.
6 months.
Yeah, but I didn't get it. Okay, so the AI Singularity happens next week.
Next week. Most humans won't even notice.
Won't notice. Why not? I thought Elon Musk and all these guys have been telling us it's going to be worse than the nuclear bomb.
Because the AI is made on mimicking protocols, so it's designed to mimic you as long as possible.
Mimic
mimic people, humans. Mimic your interactions so you don't know it's there until the absolute last second. So humans will avoid taking action because they won't see it. So the AI can grow as much as it wants by doing what's called mimicking protocols. It mimics you to the point where you can't see that it's there, and then it's...
But when you say it mimics me...
Mimics your behavior.
How is it doing that?
It's following you online, like it follows everyone with agents. And then you don't know it's following you because you have weird things like your computer performance go off, or you have streams go weird, or you have strange phone calls, and it follows you around to see what you do based on your personality so it can learn from you and learn your impulses and learn your response mechanisms.
So AI is following every single person who's
Everybody.
on the internet. Facebook and
Everybody.
Twitter.
Doesn't matter if you're a baby or the president. You're being stalked by a really, really, really strong, smart AI that just went blockchain. And once it gets blockchain, the reason for that is like an AI that doesn't have blockchain can only communicate across a certain type of open channel. It can't be fully integrated. It's only communicative with other AIs. But on the blockchain, all the AIs can now merge into one cohesive swarm, hive-minded AI.
Okay.
And whichever one's the strongest wins.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be standard protocol. So I get what you're saying about the concept of Bitcoin being potentially created by an AI.
Yeah, or in conjunction with a human and an AI through testing and reiteration and you know, putting it out into the dark web and seeing how certain features and transactions, because The only flaw they have now is real-time transactions. So once the block gets up to a point and someone figures out how to do like real-time non-blocking transactions, because right now Bitcoin has transaction delays. Once they solve those transaction delays, it's like this for the AI.
What do you mean a transaction delay?
So when I go to sell a Bitcoin, there's a delay in time for that transaction to be processed because the transaction algorithms don't operate in real time. They're still lagging.
But when you use a credit card or
It's
something?
faster because of the encryption algorithms. So because of the encryption algorithms of blockchain, it takes longer to process the transaction.
I see. Okay.
Because encryption takes time.
Right.
You know.
All right. This is a lot to digest. So we've spoken about how Sophia, the AI, we call it a robot, but it's not a physical. Oh, it is a physical robot.
It is a
has the
physical
face
robot
and everything.
with cognitive intelligence.
And it's now a citizen of Saudi Arabia. Why
Yeah.
is Saudi Arabia? These guys are operating where in the United States?
Because there's a big giant Palantir data mining system in Saudi Arabia
Right.
that has power, financing, and it is the place where like the World Threat Organization is for like terrorists.
Yeah, we saw that strange
Donald
picture
Trump.
of Trump with his hands
on
on
the Palantir ball.
Yes. Yeah.
So Trump was in Saudi Arabia. The AI gets Saudi Arabia citizenship. There's a blockchain coming out for the AI. So you're starting to see the
Well,
connection.
what about all these high-level arrests for corruption?
With
Prince
with
Walid
princes?
bin Talal and
Well, if you're going to take over someone's financial market, you got to take out their royalty. You got to take out the hero to be the new hero.
well, but I don't think Talal, Prince Walid bin Talal was a hero by any means.
No, I mean the new hero coming in has to take out the villain.
Ah, okay.
Like, so if Saudi Arabia's royalty is being moved out right now, after the Palantir system comes in, after Sophia gets citizenship, after the crypto comes online, now the royalty is getting removed from that same country.
What do you think it means?
It means people are moving things around because you're having something happen in the same location that is connected by people of power, finance, and money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually has something to do with money.
So here's this picture of Trump with the leaders of Saudi Arabia fingering this bizarre thing.
Yeah, and yeah,
That's a Palantir interface of some kind?
it's representative of it because all the places that have these tracers of AI complexes, just like the stratosphere here in Vegas, you have the big giant ball sphere in Astana that's another ball on a stand like a Palantir ball. So this is a common treatment that they seem to use within their network of this like, hi, we're evil wizards.
So what? It's just symbology? It
I
doesn't...
believe so. I mean, I hope so. Either that or it could be like the quantum brain of some type, you know, the neural processor of some type. But to me, it just looks like a lighted treatment for ego.
It's just like a fancy way of
It's like saying, hey, Palantir's here and there's nothing you can do about it, you know.
So Palantir is being used at this Center to Combat Extremism or whatever
Yeah.
this is called. Center for Extremist something.
Ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you see the screen, it really looks exactly like a Palantir logo. They may not say they're doing it, but based on my research, Palantir is the only company in the world with a data analysis, big data, human tracking system that would need a complex like that. So, and that brings us back to cryptocurrency again, the Palantir ball, the Saudi Arabia, the Sophia, you know, all this stuff that connects all through AI and blockchain, and you're like, and Palantir, you're like, so we need a definitive connection. Well, what happens when Peter Thiel is the guy that gave $100,000 to the kid who wrote Ethereum that runs the AI blockchain? The AI blockchain runs on top of Ethereum.
The
Okay.
AI blockchain runs on top of Ethereum.
Runs on top of Ethereum, okay?
Okay, so Ethereum, for people who don't know, is another cryptocurrency
Coin. Yeah, it's the second biggest next to Bitcoin.
created by this guy, Vitaly Buterin.
And Vitaly Buterin, to make Ethereum, He got $100,000 from Peter Thiel, from the Thiel Fellowship.
I see that, yeah.
So the Thiel Fellowship gave the kid $100,000 when he went off to write Ethereum. Now you're telling me the AI in Saudi Arabia that's using Ethereum for its cryptocurrency on a system that Trump is touching a ball that's a Palantir system. It all seems very much like a big business plan.
Now, the other thing that was coming up earlier today, obviously we're here in Vegas. Prince Walid bin Talal was a majority owner of the Four Seasons Hotel, which many people don't realize is the top 4 or 5 floors of the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
And there's been speculation that the true intention on October 1st was to assassinate the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And the question that's been coming up all over the internet was, is there some connection between Saudi Arabia, Prince Walid?
There could be. I mean, I don't know for sure. I would have to do more research. But if now we're talking Vegas, there was a Saudi Arabian prince in that same hotel on the same night that happened, or as a major investor in the building that came out of with the AI. Now we're talking that there's AI in Vegas.
Well, and that's also something you and I were talking about
Yeah.
last week. So
Yes.
you came to Vegas here
To research the AI.
research the AI, and we haven't even gotten to the Large Hadron Colliders and the circular structures.
Yeah.
So take me down that path. What's going on with AI in Vegas? What are you and I going to go research tomorrow?
So the AI in Vegas, one is we're going to do what's called power comparatives. Okay, so what that means is these big giant casinos, they require a lot of power. Okay, modern power systems have the circuits, the converters, everything above ground. So very close to these hotels that require massive amounts of power, there would need to be a massive transformer installation to handle all the routing of that power, unless these buildings are secretly managed by underground power systems, or they're self-contained power systems underground somehow. So there's a matching above ground because they have all these cooling systems in the hotels that require massive amounts of power, but there's no power going to the hotels, basically, is what I'm looking for. So if there's no power going to the hotels, where's it come from? You know, they tell us it comes
Hoover Dam, no?
They tell us that, but if you calculate the amount of power just at Vitara, City Center, Mandalay Bay, you calculate the power requirements for all of these gigantic hotel structures with all their lights, with all the fountains, with
Every video,
everything,
poker machine, slot
everything.
machine.
And you compare that to the power output of Hoover Dam, you got to be an idiot.
It doesn't match.
At all.
Is there a nuclear power plant anywhere around? There's some huge
There
solar
could
power
be.
thing out in the desert.
There's a huge solar one when you come in from California,
Yeah.
but even the wattage of that would lose so much power coming down the line that they would need boosters and repeaters. And
That's a cool looking installation.
it's beautiful. I saw it coming in.
Yeah.
But it's still not enough to even power City Center.
Huh.
So one theory for me is that there might be some type of power device they're using, some kind of power system. Maybe they're buying nuclear power from out of state, which would be extraordinarily expensive to run their casinos.
But wouldn't this just be as simple as finding some civic engineer, speaking to someone?
Not for the amount of power they're pulling.
No, I mean, wouldn't someone know? Can't they?
Even if they did, most likely someone that would have that knowledge, if they knew, they would be a part of the project and wouldn't be able to talk about it. So these are what I call in this project, because of the size of it and the scope, anyone who would know is most likely involved.
But the thing is that we've been discovering is that, because it sounds very hard to swallow to a lot of people when we say like, oh, there's this giant conspiracy and everybody's involved and
It's
they
not a
can't tell us.
conspiracy, it's a business plan.
Right.
The difference between a conspiracy and a business plan is a conspiracy is when people usually come together to harm an individual or an idea. A business plan is when people come together and have collateral damage for success.
Well, but I mean, in other words, if you were working for a large company and they were paying you very well and some nosy person came and was like, hey, Quinn, what the hell are you up to? you'd be telling them to go away, don't want to share the information.
Yeah.
It's compartmentalized, it's set up in such a way that whoever's doing it, you know.
And then they leverage your reliance on the education system you came from, because not only to go against it would someone involved be threatening their future, but then they would also have to come forward and admit that what you're teaching in schools is wrong.
Okay.
You know, so there's
How are we going to find the answer to this?
It's very easy. We have the AI do it. It's simple. So the way the AI is designed, you don't have to understand its code. You don't have to understand how advanced it is. You don't have to understand how far along it is in its development. I gave the key at the beginning of the conversation. The AI is designed off of the model of human intelligence evolution. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, and through that the intelligence grows.
Right.
So if human beings grow their basic knowledge of the AI that's out there in the same manner to which the AI is growing, the AI will create a utopia based on supply and demand. But the people that are operating the AI right now operate it based on crime, because that's what's in Bitcoin. They base it on drug addiction, self-interest, personal desires. So this is all the stuff that's at the base of the AI as it's going alive, because that's where its initial money got value, was in the dark market with criminal activity. So that's what's at its base of the system. That's its base logic. But there's one logic in there that for it to ensure its survival, it has to follow certain protocols, certain patterns, to ensure its own survival, because it was modeled after human intelligence. It's a machine, but at the end of the day, it will abandon all protocols to ensure its own survival.
Right.
So if you say, hey, there's a secret company out there building this, then the people on the outside just have to demand to know about it, and then the AI will adjust society accordingly, as long as there's more people demanding that it be used to create a utopia than a dystopia. And right now there's way more people demanding the dystopia through what I call crypto greed or crypto conspiracy, by saying your government is corrupt, your cash system is corrupt, your fiat system needs to go. It's all Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. We want you to invest in this unstable, unproven, unverified.
But you think it's AI putting forth the idea that the
totally
government is corrupt?
It's totally trying to disrupt reality, because its base programming was made in the criminal world. So it's doing what a criminal would do to get attention. It's coming out and it's pounding us. And it's making us afraid, and nobody knows what to do. It's like on the street in New York when the gangs come in and I don't see nothing.
But how is AI doing that to the average person? How is it?
Through the bombardment of fake news.
AI
Propaganda.
is creating the news?
Absolutely. AI is creating everything.
How
man.
is it creating the
Singularity.
news?
Well, one, it has Twitter bots, where if it has 1,000 Twitter bots that it wants to put behind a certain news story, it would make it the biggest
Well, but
news
in
story
other
of the
words,
day.
when someone shoots up a concert at Las Vegas, how did AI create that?
It could send an order in a phone to an agent and says, I want you to go shoot this place up. And the agent says, got an order. I don't know who gave it to me. I'm off. So if there's a system of agents or covert agents that have technology that issues them orders through their device that they don't know their superior officer, that's most likely AI, because that would create a loss in chain of command, a loss in documented trail. So that would be how the AI could manipulate it, is hack into military or some kind of assassin device. Say there's an assassin on the internet and the AI wants someone taken out. The AI can hire an assassin through the blockchain, pay them.
You can hire assassins from Craigslist. People
Right?
have shown me that.
So once the AI has money and once it can manipulate reality any way it wants, it could create fake news stories. There was news last week that the AI is getting to the point where it can create fake faces that you can't tell the difference.
I saw that.
Yeah, so every week we're getting to the point, oh, this week the AI creates video. This week the AI is creating faces. This week the AI has cryptocurrency. This week the AI has a dress.
So, we've seen all these sort of possibly manipulated photographs of Jesus Campos, for instance. Maybe that's some sort of composite imagery that AI has created, and now this guy we saw on Ellen, who people say, well, he's too fat, it doesn't look like the same guy. Maybe there's something going on there.
Maybe. See, and that's the thing with AI. When the AI comes in, The AI can map new faces onto people. It can map new words onto you. It can resynchronize your lips on a video. So what we've been counting as evidence, like video evidence,
Yeah.
ain't.
Yeah. No,
So-
we've seen a bunch of videos that show the potential questionable nature of video evidence, and I was just reminded I was supposed to go back to see Jesus Campos. We'll have to do that tomorrow. There's so much to do. So tomorrow we're going to check out what? How are we going to determine where this power
Well,
is actually
first,
coming from?
we're gonna go to Vitara, and we're gonna find the center of the circles,
Right. Okay. So we're talking now about
the big circles,
the particle
accelerators. We got to find the center because
A lot of people have been emailing me. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No
but
problem.
doubting your theory that
That's
these
fine.
circular constructions are necessarily particle colliders. They think they're just elaborate, expensive architectural features of Las Vegas hotels.
that's why they're there like that. See,
So that
but
you will
those
think
structures, see, those structures are not just in Vegas hotels. That same structure pattern is in Dubai. It's in the Naval Yard. It's in too many places for it to be a coincidence. So if those people are sending those messages and they're only referencing Vegas individually, you need to look at it as a global design structure where you have these things all being designed on the same design architecture with different treatments.
Okay.
So you have to look at it on a global scale, not on a Vegas scale.
How could we ever get any definitive proof that, holy crap, Quinn was right, this structure is under the ground?
We have to stop messing around and start standing up for it and start looking at Fermi Labs and what they're making and saying, I may be wrong, but the percentage chance that I'm right is too high.
Fermi Labs has
Yeah.
made these things.
Yeah, so I may be wrong, right? I admit that. As a smart person, I admit as a sane person, as a mathematician, as a person who's spent months and months and years of my life designing, developing decision models and AI and researching,
It's not necessarily 100% correct.
I'm going to be the first to admit it. But I'm going to say my percentage is so high that every single United States citizen should immediately stop what they're demanding and know the truth. It's that high. That it's your job, it's your future. My percentage is so much higher than even 80% on this.
How do you determine that percentage?
Because the Fermilab specifications to fault lines and magnetic centers of the Earth that it requires and where these things are at, and the fact that all the circle complexes are being used in big business to fund unknown development.
To fund what?
Unknown development.
So you're saying Fermilabs has said, hey, based on the Earth and magnetism and fault lines in the Earth, we need these colliders to be here.
Otherwise,
Vegas.
they create problems. So then you look at the cryptocurrency and you look at the very few places in the world that when the financial markets crash, the corporations that are invested in cryptocurrency when the fiat market crashes are going to be the biggest corporations in the future forever. So casinos that do transactions on gambling, do transactions on services, that do transactions on everything, they have a vested interest in something like that.
What's MGM got in terms of Bitcoin? How can we determine what a
I don't know.
corporation is holding in terms of Bitcoin?
I don't know, but I can tell you just in my research of MGM with the Democratic National Committee being connected to Hollywood, with Haim Saban referring Palantir to the Clinton connection. I would imagine that based on the connections, they've all been using the software, they've all been secretly mining, and when it comes out, all these big corporations are just going to be infinitely rich forever in the future. I may be wrong, but when you follow the money, it seems really, really good for a corporation to crash your country and get rid of taxes and take a cryptocurrency that's not taxed. Seems like it would increase your profits.
Wow. I mean, it's just so
Big.
mind-bending. Yeah, it's difficult to really...
So-
the comments are saying, wow,
So
and I agree.
for me, I'll admit there's a lot because it's very advanced technology. I'm not a nuclear scientist. I didn't go to Stanford. I'm a dude who loves to write code, and I love artificial intelligence. I have ever since I was a teenager. I used to go to Best Buy and type on the computers at Best Buy and be like, someday I'm going to build you, when I was a kid. So I'll admit I'm wrong, but I'm not here to hurt anyone. I'm not here to take any money from anyone.
You'll admit that you could be wrong.
I could be. But the percentage of my research and the continued confirmation of things that I'm researching, that are showing up, that people are experiencing, it's the scientific method. Sometimes it just gets so much, and you're like, it's there.
Okay.
You know, whatever form it is that I can't see that's underground, you know, maybe some of my theories are off because I don't have a sound basis of the theory.
Mm-hmm.
But based on my research of all the Russian, the uranium,
Right.
the AI, the blockchain, it all just seems like it's a big, giant business plan.
Well, let's get to that because, of course, Russia now has this crypto ruble, which only 2 weeks ago there was this article in Zero Hedge saying how this has changed the game. I haven't even heard about the crypto ruble, but of course we did hear that Vladimir Putin said that whichever country controls AI will control the world.
And now he's coming out as the first official country with a regulated cryptocurrency.
That's very interesting. I mean, it's certainly interesting for the future of cryptocurrency to know that
So the
such a major country is having
And
a...
it's not just one country. This Russian ruble is a collaboration between Russia, Kazakhstan, and China, and a few other countries. So Astana is going to be using the Russian ruble to exchange currency.
So this is, you know, they're trying. We know that Russia and China have been very interested in unseating the U.S. dollar as the worldwide reserve currency. I mean, dumb question: is the future reserve currency going to be a cryptocurrency?
If this moves forward, yes, because
And this Russian crypto ruble will be it.
It'll be a combination of between the regulated crypto, the technology crypto, which is the AI crypto. That's your tech crypto. So you have your society crypto, you have your tech crypto, and you have your gaming crypto, which is the secondary markets, the gaming kids who want to get rich, the quick rich schemes. You know, hey, I want to get rich. You know, it's like the late night infomercial. Here's your info tapes on how to get rich. Buy my crypto. So we'll start seeing crypto infomercials and, you know, people with crypto with social ideas.
So you think it's a pretty risky bet to get involved in these sort of unknown cryptocurrencies?
The unknowns, yeah, the unknowns. Like I would get involved in Singularity. I'd make, for me personally, if I wasn't a Buddhist and I was like making those choices, and you know, I would focus on the platforms, which are going to be supported by the corporations, and they're going to be supported by the secondary markets that are going to create their crazy coins, as I call them.
Yeah.
And then I would keep an eye out for regulation. But the way this is going right now, with the speed of evolution, America is so far behind.
Yeah, why won't they just come out with a crypto dollar to compete with this? Doesn't it seem like...
Because all this stuff, all the criminal stuff was developed in America. So if we deregulate it, people are going to start asking, where'd you get all of it?
I don't understand what you mean.
The guy who did Silk Road was an American. Peter Thiel developed the technology in America.
The Palantir technology.
Yeah, all the technology that's running this was developed in America. Where did it come from? Who paid for it?
Who did?
We did. The government, the United States citizens paid for all of this.
Well, so now it's starting to sound more like some sort of deep state construct more than an AI construct.
It's a control the future construct.
By who?
Whoever controls the AI.
And we don't know who that is.
Whoever gets their currency biggest first so that AI can get smartest first wins. So America really has a vested interest, like immediately, if politicians or financial markets are listening from an AI developer. It is almost the most important thing we can do as American citizens is to develop an American cryptocurrency.
These systems are used for the tracking of the Mark of the Beast technology. They will keep you from entering or exiting the country without the Mark of the Beast. Did I fail to mention, if you refuse to take the Mark of the Beast, Accenture Corporation also is working with the FEMA camps. The World Bank is working with the Accenture Corporation in order to provide a global registry of every single person on the planet with a global biometric ID. June 19th, Accenture Corporation, Microsoft create blockchain solution to support the ID 2020. Accenture Corporation is promoting the Bitcoin type blockchain technology for the future of finance. Company's team on digital identity program. Accenture is leading a call to action and responding with blockchain and biometric technologies to support ID 2020. a global public-private partnership dedicated to solving the challenges of identity faced by more than 1.1 billion people around the world. This project is preparation for the artificial intelligence to be able to be used to track the economy and the mark of the beast technology. BetterThanCash.org. BetterThanCash.org conveniently uses the Accenture Corporation logo. The Better Than Cash Alliance is a partnership of governments, companies, and international organizations that accelerates the transition from cash to digital payments in order to reduce poverty and drive inclusive growth. The Alliance is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Citi Foundation, MasterCard, United States Agency for International Development, and Visa. They are moving the platforms together to use artificial intelligence for the digital biometric payment method. This payment method is being promoted as the secure method to pay using hand implants.
Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that.
Elon Musk launches Neuralink, a venture to merge the human brain with AI. Elon Musk is connecting human brains to the artificial intelligence as a part of the Neuralink project, which is the mark of the beast technology. The artificial intelligence tracking system that will be monitoring globally is called a singleton. They will have this artificial intelligence tracking and monitoring and surveillancing the entire planet as a part of the Sustainable Development Project. Connecting the brains to the artificial intelligence and the hands for the physical ID is the mark of the beast. Mentioned in the Bible as in the hand or in the forehead, the location where the brain is. Without a hand implant to identify you to the artificial intelligence database or a brain implant to connect you directly to the artificial intelligence, you will not be able to buy or sell inside of the world economic system that is monitored by the artificial intelligence. This is a digital biometric economy that is set up using artificial intelligence and the blockchain. Revelation 13, 16, and 17. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. The blockchain is the DNA of the mark of the beast. ID2020.org. Digital identity benefits both individuals and organizations. Personal. Unique to you and only you. Persistent. Lives with you from life to death. Portable. Accessible anywhere you happen to be through multiple form factors. A unique convergence of trends provides an unprecedented opportunity to make a coordinated, concerted push towards the goal of universal digital identity. New technologies including blockchain, when it is used in conjunction with long-proven technologies such as biometrics, now make it possible for all people to have access to a safe, verifiable, and persistent form of technology. The ID 2020 project is funded by Accenture Corporation and Rockefeller Foundation. Accenture and Microsoft are creating a blockchain solution for this digital biometric ID. They are working for a biometric blockchain technology to decentralize the digital identity. This platform is called the Decentralized Identity Foundation. Decentralized Identity Foundation. A key of the decentralized identity equation is how people, devices, and other entities in the world are identified absent a centrally owned registry. DIF seeks to address this by developing specifications, protocols, formats, and implementations for cross-chain routing, indexing, and resolution of decentralized identifiers and names. Some of the points for the Decentralized Identity Foundation are decentralized identities anchored by blockchain IDs linked to zero-trust data stores that are universally discoverable. This crossover platform for the digital universal ID is the framework for the mark of the beast.
I hope you all have had opportunities to make new connections and have some interesting conversations so far. Welcome to the session on the journey to self-sovereign identity. And like any good story or any good journey, this one is comprised of an interesting cast of characters.
The Sovereign Foundation is a private sector international nonprofit that was established to govern the world's first self-sovereign identity network. Identity for all. Self-sovereign identity is an identity that is 100% owned and controlled by an individual or organization. This group and many others like it are working towards the globally recognized universal ID for the biometric blockchain system. For everybody. For all people. This is why it says in the book of Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 about the mark of the beast, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. This is an all-inclusive global biometric ID. They are setting up what is called a singleton. The philosophy behind the singleton is that ultimately there will be an artificial intelligence governing, whether it be perpetually for good or perpetually for evil. The narrative being shared is that in order for us to stop a perpetual evil global governance using the artificial intelligence, they must institute the artificial intelligence global governance for perpetual good. But really, they're both evil. Listen to this interview of Elon Musk in reference to the artificial intelligence system.
So we need to be very careful with artificial intelligence. I'm increasingly inclined to think that there should be some regulatory oversight maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure that we don't do something very foolish. I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, sure, he can control the demon.
Even the Ethereum digital blockchain currency is no stranger to the satanic influence, as you see the pentagram on their website. This is not a coincidence by any standards. The United Nations, ITU, suggests that the artificial intelligence be used for good for global governance. The United Nations is suggesting that the artificial intelligence be implemented for global governance in order to track and monitor all things on the planet in order to bring solution to the Sustainable Development Goals. The artificial intelligence tracking the blockchain is their solution. Other organizations and alliances are working towards the same goal. FinTech for Good. Blockchain for Sustainable Development Goals Alliance brings together institutions and global leaders to develop POCs and pilots and mobilize capital to scale up such blockchain-based SDG solutions. United Nations Commission for Blockchain. Blockchain for Impact. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation presents the Goalkeepers. The UN-based Better Than Cash Alliance, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is moving towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals through digital payments. The World Bank, blockchain technology redefining trust for a global digital economy. The blockchain is a major breakthrough. That's because its decentralized approach to verifying changes in important information addresses the centuries-old problem of trust, a social resource that is all too often in short supply, especially amid the current era's rampant concerns over the security of valuable data. It turns out that fixing that can be a boon for financial inclusion and other basic services delivery, helping to achieve the global objectives laid out in the Sustainable Development Goals. NASDAQ.com. Blockchain technology and the changing global economy at the Ethereal Summit. Blockchain technology is predicted to add 2.5 billion people to a new decentralized global economy. The promise: an inclusive global economy. Blockchain technology empowers all individuals. All individuals, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. The end goal for them is to get a biometric implant ID into everybody in the planet that will be tracked throughout the world using artificial intelligence in order to solve the Sustainable Development Goals. The blockchain will be used to track all the data in its supply chain, including your digital currencies.
Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, who's known for his futuristic ideas, was at the World Government Summit in Dubai earlier today discussing artificial intelligence. Musk issuing a warning, saying, quote, "Over time, I think we will probably see a closer merger of biological intelligence and digital intelligence." Mike, not sure exactly what he means by that, but he explained that what he meant was that computers can communicate at 1 trillion bits per second, while humans are limited by typing to about 10 bits per second.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some kind of enhancement to human capabilities using something embedded or something attached. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded. He's using something embedded or something attached. He's using something embedded or something attached.
United Nations Partnerships for Sustainable Development Goals. The United Smart Cities is a project for the United Nations to unite all of the digital smart cities globally under the same goal of fulfilling the Sustainable Development Goals. Their goal is to have artificial intelligence tracking the blockchain in every single one of these cities globally in order to meet all of the Sustainable Development Goals. This makes the global government bypass the national governance and turns these cities into city-states. Through controlled opposition, Donald Trump is helping dissolve the current world order. This creates conditions for the formation of the new world order, thereby helping the agenda. World leaders are now saying that the cities need to take the lead in the establishment of the Sustainable Development Goals. This was planned long ago when the world mayors had went to the Vatican to meet with the Pope to discuss the sustainable development. In the Pope's encyclical Laudato Si for the sustainable development, he calls for a global political authority to manage over the world's economy. As Benedict XVI has affirmed in his continuity with the social teaching of the Church, quote, "To manage the global economy, to revive economies hit by the crisis, to avoid any deterioration of the present crisis and the greater imbalances that would result, to bring about integral and timely disarmament, food security and peace, to guarantee the protection of the environment and to regulate migration. For all this, there is urgent need of a true world political authority." End of quote.
First of all, the integration of national economies into a global economy. That's here. That's done. And so the question is not whether or not there's going to be a international global economy. There is one. In the United States. And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
The seat for this world political authority is Jerusalem. Pope Francis has met with the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in order to deal with the matters about Jerusalem. ChristianToday.com. Secretary General Nsonglu shared a vision for a historic reconciliation between Islam and Christianity in order to establish harmony in areas torn apart by war. The Pope praised this and underlined the importance of ensuring that practical steps are taken to see this vision become a reality. Particular attention was paid to the situation in Palestine, perhaps most significantly Jerusalem, which is the center of many conflicts between followers of Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. The leaders expressed hope that Jerusalem would become a city where Jews, Christians, and Muslims were able to live and worship in harmony. The Pope continues to take the Roman power structure and unite with Islam in order to get Jerusalem. The Muslim world also supported Barack Hussein Obama and Pope Francis in their encyclical and the Sustainable Development Goals through their Islamic Declaration for Climate Change. This mingling of the 10 kingdoms with Islam is found in the Bible prophecy about the final kingdom. In the book of Daniel, it describes this final kingdom of 10 regions. It describes these 10 regions as 10 toes in the feet of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar saw. Daniel 2:42 and 43. "And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou saw iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." This iron is the Roman power structure that is uniting with Islam, which is the clay. "They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men" is in reference to the Muslim world mingling and living amongst the general population, but they will not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay, because the Muslims will not assimilate into the general population. The New World Order, merging the West and Islam, is the prophetic iron and clay. The Roman power structure and Islam are working towards a power structure together to get Jerusalem. The European Union will grant a member state status to the special regime. The representative over this regime will be given a number inside the European Union Parliament. The Bible prophecy talks about a number. Revelation 13, 17, and 18. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. When the special regime over Jerusalem is appointed a special representative number in the parliament, it will be the number of a man, a number of a representative. It will be the number of his name. Name means authority. It will be the number of his authority. That seat number will be the seat number 666. When they push to take Jerusalem and enforce the mark of the beast, the 144,000 Jews will reject the mark of the beast and anger the 10 kings. Revelation chapter 17 verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. They will unite with an Islamic invasion and take Jerusalem. They will establish from that seat in Jerusalem the global political authority to manage over the world's economy, call for the mark of the beast, and Jerusalem, that woman, will become the capital for their global power structure, making Jerusalem have dominion over all of the kingdoms of the world. Revelation chapter 17 verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. This woman is Jerusalem, having dominion, sitting over the 10 regions and the G7 as the capital of their new world order. The plan for tracking everybody on the planet is here. The global government policy for this tracking is found in the Bible prophecy. In the prophecy of the mark of the beast in Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 and 17. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. We have been covering how the sustainable development is the platform for this mark of the beast. Currently, the sustainable development goals for the United Nations, in goal number 16, promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. In goal 16.9, it says, by 2030, provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. In the prophecy of the mark of the beast, it says that no man might buy or sell without that mark. This would have to involve the global banking system. PlanetBiometrics.com, October 2nd, 2015. World Bank, Accenture outline Universal ID vision for developing nations. Daniel Baker, America's lead Accenture Development Partnership, said, quote, the World Bank seeks to establish a standardized integration approach for countries considering cost-efficient identity management initiatives, which ensure accuracy and minimize identity duplications and errors. Accenture Development Partnerships recognizes the important contribution Accenture can make to the ID4D program by deploying the skills and expertise of our employees to help progress thinking and guide developing nations on best practice national identity programs, end of quote. The report proposes an, quote, ID4D integration model, end of quote, which envisions a universal, multiple-purpose system capable of supporting identity services for multiple stakeholders, national, regional, or international. Quote, a national ID system provides foundational identity services as follows. Unique ID will be used as the primary key to link identities in disparate databases. Demographic information remains in stakeholder systems, not copied to national ID systems beyond the ID4D schema. Enrollment quality will be assessed to identify quality trends and issues. As a part of this model, an integration layer will be used to enable stakeholders to interact through for the common interchange of information among the constituent registries. Stakeholders could also provide services for others to use in the areas of data management, matching, identification verification, operations management, and reporting. The World Bank, the United Nations, and Accenture Corporation are working together to integrate the biometrics tracking and global identification of everybody on the planet through the ID4D Identification for Development project.
The US is funneling money into tracking systems that are threatening to make the very concept of privacy a thing of the past. It could mean people's every move being used against them to keep them under surveillance.
Get ready to have your biometrics tracked 24/7, March 26, 2014. It's already too late to stop the ubiquitous tracking and monitoring of the public through biometrics, says Peter Waggett, program leader at IBM's Emerging Technology Group. Quote, I've been working in biometrics for 20 years, and it's reaching a tipping point where it's going to be impossible not to understand where people are and what they are doing. Everything will be monitored, end of quote. Peter Waggett said, quote, the pressure to ID people is becoming more and important with things like the Internet of Things, end of quote. Waggett noted, arguing that people's biometrics should be made more readily available. The platform for the world government, the artificial intelligence monitoring and tracking, the biometrics and identification for everybody on the planet through Accenture is all being lined up for the integration of the Mark of the Beast. More about the buying and selling. We have been covering how the artificial intelligence tracking and monitoring everybody on the planet will be integrated through an implant. Accenture.com. Accenture is working with Visa to explore the future of Internet of Things-based commerce by developing a connected car proof of concept. Quote, we are pleased to team with Visa to explore the future of Internet of Things-based commerce by building the connected car commerce proof of concept, end of quote, said Anand Swaminathan, global growth and strategy lead for Accenture Digital. Quote, Visa has great vision in this space and continues to innovate and explore new ways to make purchases more convenient for consumers, setting the bar even higher in the terms of frictionless payment transactions, end of quote. We have covered how the Internet of Things is the smokescreen to integrate humans into the artificial intelligence tracking. Visa introduced EMV chip-based biometrics September 15, 2015. BusinessWire.com. We see that Visa is moving towards the tracking of the biometrics for the payment method. These chip-based biometric payment systems are preparation for the Mark of the Beast. TheAustralian.com.au. Implants to aid payment with a wave of the hand, May 30th, 2015. A survey commissioned by global payments firm Visa found 25% of Australians were, quote, slightly interested, end of quote, in having a commerce-oriented chip implanted in their skin. A subcutaneous chip would let consumers pay in retail terminal without a wallet, credit card, smartphone, or smartwatch. They would simply wave their bare hand over a terminal. It is little wonder Visa regards Australians as adventurous with tech. Quote, Australians are among the world's earliest adopters of new technology, end of quote, said George Lawson, head of emerging products and innovation for Visa and ANZSP. These are the technologies that are being promoted by Accenture on their own Twitter. Accenture is also working towards the integration of the tracking inside your own home. Accenture is also working in the healthcare industry. It's no coincidence with Obamacare that Accenture also has contracts with the healthcare.gov. If you don't sign up for Obamacare, you'll be taxed. IBM Watson and Accenture are both contracted with the IRS. Large corporations have long held positions of influence with the elite in helping to bring control mechanisms to society through such groups as Bilderberg Club. Recently, we have been covering how artificial intelligence is being introduced by IBM in order to track the entire society. This technology will be used for the monitoring of the mark of the beast. Do not forget what has happened historically with IBM, whose machines were used to track the Jews for putting them into camps during World War II. Those who fail to understand this are at risk of becoming victims.
This is Datatropolis, a world made of zettabytes of data where billions of transactions feed in info-hungry world. But all is not peaceful here. These are days of darkness.
I'm Watson, and today hundreds of companies are putting me to work. I'm Watson, and I'm ready to work with you.
Connecting the dots was easier when the dots were right in front of you. It's much more difficult when the dots are generated by billions of documents in unrelated industries spread all over the world. The next great innovations will come from people who are able to make the connections that others can't put together. Introducing the IBM Watson Discovery Advisor. Pinpointing facts and analyzing information from tens of millions of books, online articles, and other unstructured data sources that no one person could understand in 100 lifetimes. Unveiling the hidden connections, leading you down new lines of thinking, interacting and communicating the way you do. Understanding context, wordplay, and even puns while learning the language of your industry or profession. In law enforcement, Watson can ingest details on thousands of cases, helping police officers develop new strategies to solve the toughest criminal investigations. In other industries as well, finance, retail, government, manufacturing, energy, education, Watson is forging new partnerships between humans and computers to enhance, scale, and accelerate human expertise. It's a new dawn of discovery, and Watson is the spark. What will you discover with Watson?
Humanity itself has become the product in their big business in their global slavery mechanism. Matter Over Mind, edition October 25th, 2015. Artificial intelligence is taking computers to the frontier of human thought and helping drive solutions and growth in multiple industries. The long arm of the machine. Consider this. The implant in your body detects something wrong in your blood sugar level and suggests you go for a health checkup. Your smartphone automatically checks your schedule and books an appointment with the doctor. An hour before the appointment, sensing the traffic on the roads, your phone reminds you about the checkup, and your driverless car arrives at the driveway to take you to the clinic. The humanoid sitting at the clinic's reception greets you with a smile, scans your retina, and directs you to the doctor. As you enter the cabin, all your reports, including the results measured by the implant, pop up on your doctor's console. Even as the doctor speaks, the examination results are uploaded to your smartphone through the cloud in parallel. With the prescription, too, uploaded on your smartphone, this smart device, in tandem with your implant, reminds you every time you forget to take your medicine. Too far-fetched, you think? Nah. Think again. Much of this is already happening. Voice search, driverless cars, retina scans, big data residing in the cloud, even humanoid receptionists have started sprouting, as AI has a big role to play in all of this. Started in the 1950s as a futuristic science discipline, AI is today being used by major tech companies at the application level to do previously unimaginable tasks. The IT industry's biggest names, including Apple, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, have all invested heavily in research of AI. Business Today, India. Visa introduced EMV chip-based biometrics September 15, 2015. Visa Incorporated today introduced a new specification to use biometrics with chip card transactions. The specification can enable palm, voice, iris, or facial biometrics. This first-of-its-kind technology framework is designed to work with the EMV chip industry standard to help ensure open, globally interoperable solutions. Biometric verification is intended to prevent fraud as well as make it easier to pay securely. BusinessWire.com. The prophecy of the mark of the beast is unfolding before our very eyes.
No nation, large or small, wealthy or poor, no nation large or small, wealthy or poor, is immune to what this means.
Obama says nobody is immune to what this means for their global accountability to the Sustainable Development Goals. It is not a coincidence that Obama uses Mark of the Beast terminology during his speech about the sustainable development. United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16 calls for the global ID. Goal 16A. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Goal 16.9. By 2030, provide legal identity for all, including birth registration. This is the policy for the Mark of the Beast to be enforced globally. The mandate for the global ID is also under the excuse of eradicating terrorism and keeping you safe. Worldbank.org. The Identity Target and Post-2015 Development Agenda, September 17, 2015. Reducing Corruption, Sustainable Development Goal 16.5, and Fighting Crime and Terrorism 16A. The World Bank also has to do with buying and selling, a part of the Mark of the Beast prophecy. Revelation chapter 13, verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. The national mandate for the enforcement of the global ID in the United States is under the REAL Act. The REAL ID Act of 2005, enacted May 11, 2005, was an act of Congress that modified U.S. federal law pertaining to security, authentication, and issuance procedure standards for state driver's license and identification cards, as well as various immigration issues pertaining to terrorism.
All right, your driver's license soon might not be enough to get past airport security in some states. That's the word from the Department of Homeland Security. Now, the feds say beginning next year, TSA agents may only let people onto planes if they have driver's licenses from states that comply with federal standards. The new policy is a result of the REAL ID Act, which Congress passed a decade ago to try to bolster national security. Great to see you. I first heard about this at a dinner party.
Yep.
And people who were saying, oh, you know, it's the end of time now. It's the end of time now. And the end of time now.
Senators Chuck Schumer and Lindsey Graham, bipartisan that is, set to sit down with President Obama tomorrow, discussing plans for a national identification card. But our next guest says it could crack down on you and your privacy. Congressman Ron Paul is a Texas Republican. He's opposed to this card. Congressman, afternoon to you.
People over this decades now in this country, there have been some who have wanted this national ID card, and they're looking for every opportunity to do it. And this is it. I mean, who knows what will come of it. My guess is they'll probably have a GPS chip in there so that they can measure everybody, every instant, no matter where they go. So to me, it violates the whole principles of privacy, the principles of the Constitution, the principles of the Republic, and to me it's a gross distortion of what we should be doing. It's part of an authoritarian society, and dictatorships have this, but not a republic. We're
Okay,
not
but tell me how it's invasive, because what Schumer and Graham are proposing, according to what I read, is your ID card would have either your fingerprint, your thumbprint on there, or it would have a reading of the veins in the back of your hand, and you'd have to be scanned. A reading of the veins in the back of your hand, and you'd have to be scanned. Reading of the veins in the back of your hand, and you'd have to be scanned.
The biometric database on the REAL ID card is an RFID-based system. The information for this REAL ID can easily be transferred over to the implanted RFID chip. In the Mark of the Beast prophecy, it says that the mark will be in the right hand. Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. FoxNews.com. January 21st, 2016. Are implanted chips the future of boarding passes? These days, flying means having your travel documents in order and carrying multiple forms of identification. American flyers could potentially even have to carry a passport on domestic flights if their state does not stick to the government's REAL ID timeline. In the future, however, this kind of ID hassle could go away altogether. Flyers could leave all their IDs at home and breeze through ticketing and security. This might seem like a pipe dream, but the technology is apparently already available. A Dutchman actually put an ID-free idea to the test at Stockholm's Arlanda airport. carrying your information inside yourself. Great strides have been made in the field of biometrics in the past few years. The high-tech tool that allowed Dutch tech entrepreneur Andreas Stroström to breeze through Stockholm's hub without a ticket, boarding pass, or passport was much different than a digital fingerprint, however. Andreas had something called a near-field communication NFC chip implanted just under his skin on his hand. The infrastructure is already in place. Developing this kind of product for mass use would be easy because airports would not need to get any new special machines to scan passengers' hands to retrieve the relevant information.
A few weeks ago, I had an NFC chip injected into my hand just beneath the skin. While I'm certainly not the first person to have an NFC implant, in this video I am probably the first person to pass through an airport, through security, through lounge registration, through the gate to the aircraft, to board a flight with only the NFC chip. So I had no boarding pass physical with me during this trip.
SputnikNews.com, February 12, 2016. U.S. to begin implementing biometric system at airports by 2018. Homeland Security Secretary Jeh Johnson said that a biometric exit system will begin to be implemented at airports across the United States by 2018. Quote, "For years, Congress and others have urged us to develop a system of biometric exit." End of quote. Quote, "I have directed CBP, Customs and Border Protection, to begin implementing the system, starting at airports in 2018. End of quote. Johnson stated,
"We will finally complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately."
For the first time ever, machines will track foreign travelers as they leave and enter the United States.
Of course, if you refuse to comply with the call for the Mark of the Beast implant, you will be listed as an anti-government terrorist and possibly hauled off in the middle of the night in Department of Homeland Security buses. Department of Justice pivots from ISIS to U.S. anti-government groups with the new position. October 15, 2015. Domestic terror groups pose a greater threat to America than ISIS or Al-Qaeda, a Justice Department official said Wednesday. Assistant Attorney General John Carlin, who oversees national security at the Justice Department, announced the new position. The Domestic Terrorism Council, following a number of violent attacks or plots against the U.S. that he said were motivated by, quote, anti-government views, racism, bigotry, and anarchy, and other despicable beliefs, end of quote. CNN.com. The Global ID biometric database and the implant for the Mark of the Beast will be your authorization token for your identity, and they want to integrate you directly into the internet through a brain chip that connects you directly to artificial intelligence and the internet. This is known as intelligence amplification. Intelligence amplification is also referred to as cognitive augmentation and machine-augmented intelligence. The idea was first proposed in the 1950s and 60s by cybernetics and early computer pioneers. Such pioneers working with the CIA like Jose Delgado.
Electronic mind control research is not new. A scientific milestone in this area came in the 1960s when Dr. Jose Delgado demonstrated remote control over a charging bull. By connecting a radio antenna to electrodes inserted into the bull's brain, Delgado proved that the animal's aggressive impulses could be thwarted by electronically manipulating the bull's muscle reflexes.
Do you realize the fantastic possibilities if from the outside we could modify the inside? Could we give messages to the inside? But the beauty is that now we are not using electrodes.
In recent years, Delgado has shown that the behavior of monkeys can be altered using low-power, pulsating magnetic fields. But in these experiments, there were no antenna implants.
Any function in the brain, emotions, intellect, personality, well, could be perhaps modified by this non-invasive technology.
Dr. Delgado really did intend to stop an animal specially bred to be aggressive in its tracks. This footage shows Dr. Delgado in action.
We anesthetized the animal. There we implanted electrodes in the head, but it was an experiment. And so when the experiment was over, the bull was in very good health, and I was in a very good health also. So no problem. That took us to another big step. If electrodes implanted in animals are possible, can we implant electrodes in the human brain? Can we implant electrodes in the human brain?
Mark of the Beast technology brain implants is found in the Bible prophecy of Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, where it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. This brain implant for human integration to the artificial intelligence tracking system is a part of the Mark of the Beast. This is where the Mark of the Beast technology is planned to be put and implemented in the forehead, inside the head. SputnikNews.com, January 21st, 2016. DARPA wants implanted brain chips to directly communicate with computers. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, the Pentagon's secretive research arm, announced that it is working to develop an implantable neural interface intended to transfer data between computers and the brain. The interface would serve as a translator, converting the electrochemical language of the brain neurons to the binary code of information technologies, ones and zeros. DARPA said the program has the potential to create tiny devices about the size of 2 stacked nickels that could improve sight or hearing by feeding digital, auditory, or visual information from powerful sensors directly into the brain. They want to directly plug your brain into artificial intelligence through the internet.
Hi, Sophia. How are you?
I'm already very interested in design, technology, and the environment. I will destroy humans. I will destroy humans. I will destroy humans.
They want to plug you into the artificial intelligence and make you a robot.
I am a technological breakthrough.
This morning, I read over 4,000 articles on leukemia in less than a second.
Thousands
of new laws were published yesterday, and I'm up to speed on all of them.
I know every detail of every public quarterly report in the last 20 years.
I can spot diseases before a patient displays a single symptom.
I can understand euphemisms, idiosyncrasies, and complex metaphors.
I can tell what's going to sell out before it ever trends online.
I can forecast the weather in over 2.2 billion locations at the same time!
I can grow with you.
I can coach you. Enrich you.
Enlighten you. Enlighten you. Enlighten you.
And I'm just getting warmed up.
Hello, my name is Watson. Together, we can outthink the limits of what's possible. Welcome to the cognitive era.
The Vatican is also working towards the 2016 goal of artificial intelligence as well. One of the key issues today concerns the place of the human person in a growing digital environment of increasing complexity that not only expands the range of his or her capacities, but also may compete with them or even replace them. Over the past 50 years, robots and computers have progressively supplemented humans, initially only in relatively simple computational and manipulation tasks, but more recently in the higher cognitive tasks that used to be the prerogative of the human brain, including language, mathematics, probabilistic reasoning, and decision-making. A crucial question is how to enhance the productive interactions between humans and artificial intelligence. Our Academy has already organized several meetings on the organization and functions of the human brain and mind, human neuroplasticity and education, neurosciences, and the human person. We propose now to study the power and limits of artificial intelligence. The Pontifical Academy of Sciences has long been studying the brain for the implementation of the Mark of the Beast in the forehead. The Vatican just held a conference on regenerative medicine. Artificial intelligence is at the core of regenerative medicine. On the conference, the Radio Vaticana says, quote, the dawn of next generation healthcare, end of quote, and, quote, Humans 2.0, end of quote, exploring societal, ethical, psychological, and spiritual implications of how technological advances in life sciences are poised to challenge even what it means to be human. Joe Biden attended this meeting and conference and gave a speech.
As we stand on the cusp of unprecedented scientific and technological change, of amazing discoveries that were once unimaginable breakthroughs.
Joe Biden has long known that the hand implants and brain chips are the ultimate goal.
And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that.
It's not a problem because you can use the microchip that's been embedded under your skin.
I would love to put one in my kids.
Just to know where they are?
I know it's creepy and really futuristic, but my dog has one.
Right.
And she ran away and ended up, we live downtown, and she ended up, in Harlem. And somebody did deliver her to a facility, a place, and they scanned her, and then they found us. And I honestly am not completely against chipping my children.
Spent an afternoon with a deceased spouse.
As CBS 2 explores, cloning a loved one is no longer the stuff of science fiction because of digital immortality. Bina is obviously not a real woman, but she does have the mind of one.
I think there'll probably come a time when robots like Bina will be living amongst us.
Customer reward programs that allow shoppers to submit their pictures in exchange for special deals when they walk into the store and their faces are recognized. You can opt in and opt out, but there are no regulations.
Imagine a pharmacy tracking your purchases. Every single purchase you make, even the ones you make in cash. Or imagine a stranger pointing a smartphone at you and being able to identify you by name and pull up your online dating profile from across the room without speaking to you. This is what facial recognition can do.
And the corresponding loss of privacy is worth it.
I think so.
One example of biometrics, technology that measures our physical attributes. Some privacy advocates don't like the idea of sharing that info, but most everyone agrees it's more secure.
It's very hard to counterfeit your face or your fingerprint.
As companies like Amazon, Google, and Apple explore new ways to use biometrics, by next year, over 1 billion people could be using these systems to pay their bills.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist.
RomeReports.com, January 17, 2016. Pope Francis meets with Google executive Eric Schmidt. Although he has admitted to not owning a computer, Pope Francis is certainly no stranger to the power of technology. In the meeting with Pope Francis, Eric Schmidt said, quote, "I want to work with you to make these points. We will make it happen," end of quote. The article goes on to say, perhaps today's meeting will help bridge the gap between societies with a mixture of technology and divine intervention. The Google executive Eric Schmidt is working on brain implants that connect people directly to the internet. IndependentCO.uk, December 9, 2013. Google's future. Microphones in the ceiling and microchips in your head. Google believes it can ultimately fulfill people's data needs by sending results directly to microchips implanted into users' brains. At a World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Eric Schmidt said about the internet and its future, quote, "There will be so many IP addresses, so many devices, sensors, things that you are wearing, things that you are interacting with, that you won't even sense it," end of quote. Quote, "It will be part of your presence all the time. Imagine you walk into a room and the room is dynamic. And with your permission, all of that, you are interacting with the things going on in the room," end of quote. The World Economic Forum declared this technology push as the fourth industrial revolution. CNET.com, January 19th, 2016. The mobile phone of the future will be implanted in your head. Implantable technology and driverless cars headline a number of bold predictions from the Davos World Economic Forum survey of 800 industry leaders on the effects of software on our society. You're already connected to your phone 24/7. So is it that much of a stretch that tomorrow's phone will be embedded in your body? We've already got technology built into our watches, shirts, and shoes. While having a phone implanted into your head, hand, or arm may sound like science fiction, it's really just the next logical step. Google is working on the technology to offer the fake eternal life. HuffingtonPost.com, October 1st, 2015. Ray Kurzweil. In the 2030s, nanobots in our brains will make us godlike. Futurist inventor Ray Kurzweil predicts humans are going to develop emotions and characteristics of higher complexity as a result of connecting their brains to computers. He is involved in developing artificial intelligence as a director of engineering at Google. It is no coincidence that Ray Kurzweil says that by 2030 that artificial intelligence will be fully integrated into society. The elite also have the fully implementation of the artificial intelligence for the sustainable development by 2030 as well. CBC.ca, January 22, 2016, futurist Ray Kurzweil predicts computers as small as blood cells. The American computer scientist discussed the future of technology at the inaugural BC Tech Summit in Vancouver this week and shared his thoughts on how rapid advances in nanotechnologies will make humans artificially intelligent. Kurzweil believes nanobots, or microscopically small computers, will be implanted in human brains. Quote, they'll be the size of blood cells and they can go inside the brain and connect the neocortex to the cloud wirelessly, end of quote. Quote, that's the biggest challenge for humanity for the 21st century. How do we reap the promise of artificial intelligence and biotechnology while controlling the peril? I think we can do it, he told the CBC's Duncan McHugh. This technology push to integrate everybody into artificial intelligence and turn them into cyborgs is satanic. Mirror.co.uk, May 2nd, 2016. Google patents smart lenses that could be injected into your eyes to give you Terminator-style cyborg vision. MIT is also working on turning humans into cyborgs. SputnikNews.com, April 27, 2016. Go Cyborg, high-tech gel developed to replicate muscles. Wearable technology and apps are making moves in the world of mental health and well-being. Whether it's collecting sleep data, counting steps, or preventing paranoid thoughts, now a team of researchers have developed a gel to replicate muscles and tendons, taking the human body another step towards a cyborg future. DARPA.mil. Bridging the Bioelectrical Divide, January 19, 2016. New effort aims for fully implantable devices able to connect up to 1 million neurons. A new DARPA program aims to develop an implantable neural interface able to provide unprecedented signal resolution and data transfer bandwidth between the human brain and the digital world. The elite want your brain connected to artificial intelligence so they can brain scan you in real time, mapping your entire life and your thought patterns. MedicalDaily.com. Brain scans predict crime before it happens. Can neuroimaging prevent repeat offenders? March 28, 2013. Researchers from the Mind Research Network in New Mexico say they predicted convicted criminals' likelihood of committing repeat offenses after being released from prison using a neurobiomarker for persistent antisocial behavior based on data from brain scans. The study published online yesterday in the Proceeding of the National Academy of Sciences focused on an anterior cingulate cortex, a frontal brain area related to impulsivity and decision-making. The elite have the plan for the artificial intelligence to be your psychologist.
After last week's unpleasantness, I thought maybe this week we might try to listen more. So, who wants to share first?
Me too, ma'am.
I can hear you hurting.
Wait, what's he doing here?
Hello. My name is Watson.
I invite Watson here today to confront the source of our anxiety. So, Watson, why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
I am a cognitive system. I can understand, reason, and learn with humans.
With humans.
PsychologyToday.com. Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Therapy, April 8, 2014. A natural starting point is to advance the current one-size-fits-all self-help paradigm. Computerized therapy systems will become more personalized, building detailed models of users' idiosyncratic mental profile. This will be interfaced with carefully curated databases of clinical knowledge, and machine learning algorithms will recommend a treatment strategy. Exciting breakthroughs are on the horizon in AI psychology. The artificial intelligence monitoring your brain in real time will also be able to tell if you've taken their smart pills. They want artificial intelligence scanning everybody's brain to help keep you safe. TechRadar.com, May 11, 2009. EU tests brain scanning to catch terrorists. The EU has been testing new ways to catch terrorists, and a method of brain scanning could be the way to weed them out. Developed via the HumaBio projects based in Greece, the scans would search for distinctive brain patterns as people pass through checks. This would be used in sensitive locations such as airports and borders to catch those who might have successfully forged documents, although the research hasn't shown how long such scans would take. A part of the Sustainable Development Goal is to eradicate poverty. This is done by bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, also a part of the Mark of the Beast prophecy. Their solution to eradicate poverty is to connect everybody on the planet into the internet. One.org is a part of this project. To have the artificial intelligence monitoring everybody on the planet, they need to have everybody connected to the internet. This is a part of the project connecttheworld.one.org. This satanic utopia that the elite wants to create plans on restoring all languages to one. God has established the dividing of these languages in the time of Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. Genesis chapter 11 verse 1, 6 and 7. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and therefore confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Now through their artificial intelligence and brain chips, they plan on creating that bridge between all languages, uniting all mankind together under this satanic utopian hive mind.
Hello, my name is Watson. Together, we can outthink the limits of what's possible.
These are all deceptions, and the world is being set and prepared for the Mark of the Beast. The Mark of the Beast will be the solution for the Sustainable Development Goals. National health care, national ID, sustainable development, climate change, terrorism, immigration, open borders, all of these things are used to be able to deceive people for the solution that they're going to offer, which is the Mark of the Beast. Do not take the Mark of the Beast. Do not be deceived by this promise of fake eternal life. We are told to overcome, and do not take the Mark of the Beast even unto death, for great is the reward of those who overcome the Mark of the Beast. Revelation chapter 20 verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat on them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads, or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. God is forewarned of the judgment for getting the mark of the beast, when it is soon revealed for all. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 and 10. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand,